coming up tonight on VCU InSight.
A great honor for a former VCU basketball star as his jersey joins the rank of the elite.
Find out how cell phones are being used to help teens stop smoking.
And a new type of doll is turning smiles upside down.
All this and more.
VCU InSight starts right now.
From the Richard T. Robertson School of Media and Culture at Virginia Commonwealth University, named Best Student Newscast in the Mid-Atlantic, this is VCU InSight.
Good evening and welcome to VCU InSight. I'm Ben Billmeyer.
And I'm Sierra Wega. Thanks for joining us. Topping the news tonight, a VCU basketball player has joined elite company. Having your jersey retired is one of the highest honors in sports, and here at VCU, it's not something they do often. InSight's Derek Marion is in the newsroom with more. Good evening, Derek.
Good evening, Sierra. VCU basketball legend Bradford Burgess was honored last weekend by having his jersey retired. The ceremony began with a reminder of just how Burgess earned this honor. Bradford Burgess met his former coach, Shaka Smart, who asked for the jersey to be retired. Burgess was joined by his parents and brother Jordan, who is a guard for VCU. They watched together as his jersey was unrolled in the rafters, the first one since 2009. Robbie Robertson has called VCU games since 2008. Robinson says Burgess is deserving of this honor.
Instead of just being a nice little story that happened in 2011 and then we went to obscurity, Bradford kept us relevant. He kept us in the top of minds. And so it allowed us to take that next step, and we haven't looked back. As of now, we have not missed an NCAA tournament since Bradford Burgess went to that Final Four. His pass is deflected.
Burgess was a huge part of the 2011 Final Four run, and in 2012, he led the Rams to the top of the CAA. VCU has played basketball since 1968. Since then, only 5 players have been honored by having their jerseys retired. Calvin Duncan, Eric Maynard, Gerald Henderson, Kendrick Warren, and now Bradford Burgess. Chris Crawley, better known as Pav, is one of the most recognizable Rams fans. He knew Burgess would be a special player for VCU during his first season.
I'm sure he hit a bunch of shots that I can't remember because I've been to a lot of these games over the years, but Lord knows, anybody who you can trust as a freshman to come in and defend another team's star player, you know is going to be a special kind of guy.
Is currently playing professional basketball in Italy after spending 2 seasons in Belgium. He's joined in Italy by 2 former Rams, Eric Maynard and Javante Reddick. Back to you, Sierra.
Thank you, Derek.
It's a controversial topic for many, using animals in medical research. But 13 beagles are now finding real homes here in Richmond after their time helping researchers has come to an end. InSight's Evan Ratner explains.
Cupcake is an 8-year-old beagle, one of the 9 beagles that the Richmond Animal League acquired on February 12th from Virginia Tech after they were rescued from a lifetime of captivity.
They've never been outside, so before you can train them to go to the bathroom outside, you have to first train them to learn to be outside.
Richmond Animal League's executive director, Amy McCracken, was thrilled when she got the call about these animals. In running a no-kill shelter, she jumped at the chance to be a part of finding them good homes.
Occasionally we'll get a call to help with something like this, and we were delighted to say, yes, oh my gosh, we are equipped to deal with those dogs and give them a happy life.
9 of the beagles that were rescued from Virginia Tech by Richmond Animal League, like Cupcake here, were put into foster homes while they wait to be adopted.
Having fostered more than 80 animals waiting to be adopted before, Amy Hatchett was just delighted to have a chance to make an impact on Cupcake's life.
Our purpose right now is to get her to the point where she is adoptable. You know, get her used to everything like common things around the house, the dishwasher running, the vacuum cleaner.
An undercover study done by PETA shows that nearly 75,000 dogs are used for research a year without ever leaving a lab. These specific beagles were primarily used for breeding purposes to sell the puppies for research.
We said, oh, we'll take all of them. And they said, oh, we didn't expect any one organization to take all of them, but we wanted to make sure that they all came together and that they all had that same happy ending.
Cupcake and the other beagles are finally about to have their own happy ending. For VCU InSight, I'm Evan Ratner.
4 of the dogs have already been adopted. If you are interested in putting in an application for the others at the Richmond Animal League, visit their website at ral.org.
Not many college students can say they sit down with state legislators to help promote change for their peers, but the VCU Student Government President had an important role on the governor's campus sexual assault task force. InSight's Amaya Ray is in the studio to tell us more.
I'm here with Brandon Day, VCU's SGA president that is joining the fight to stop sexual assault on college campus, and he's working with state legislators to do it. Brandon, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So, you're one of 30 people chosen by Governor McAuliffe to be on this task force for combating sexual assault. So what are you guys hoping to do?
Right, so I serve on the prevention subcommittee, and really the hope is to create a holistic plan to help combat sexual violence, not just on one campus, but on every campus across Virginia. And that includes, four-year universities, public versus private. It also includes community colleges. So really trying to create a plan that legislators, students, faculty can all get behind, and that can be effective in combating this issue that we know has been present for a while, but it's just now sort of coming to the forefront of the discussion.
I see that you're on the prevention subcommittee. Now, being on that, it has to be tough, but what do you guys have in plans for prevention?
Right, absolutely. So, in my opinion, the Prevention Committee has sort of the biggest task in that, we're not just abiding by Cleary or trying to find, ways of creating stronger law enforcement. We're really trying to create a cultural change, and that's a big undertaking because it requires a lot of figuring things out sort of as they come along, with recent events unfolding, in the news in Virginia. Every day it's a new discovery that we're working on. How do we change the culture of sexual violence, not on campuses alone, but, across, I guess the community as a whole, and so that's sort of the biggest concern. But we've broken down our tiers based on the expertise on the committee, and so using everyone's background knowledge and sort of who they're representing, we're able to create a seamless plan, in my opinion, to sort of bring forward whatever actions we know that students can get behind to sort of stop this on their own, right, and not need to follow some sort of policy or have some sort of guidebook, but they can really sort of undertake it on their own.
Okay, and we have some footage of you with the task force meetings and some interviews that you've done for the task force. Mm-hmm. Now, there's some high-level folks that you've been working with on the task force subcommittee. There's the president of George Mason and also the vice president of Virginia Tech. So as a student, how does it feel to be working with these people at the table?
It feels brilliant to know that Governor McAuliffe and the whole team really want student input. I'm one of 2 student representatives. We also have Christopher, who's the ODU SGA president, serving on the prevention subcommittee with me as well. And it is intimidating to work with people who are so well knowledged and, obviously huge influencers on campuses across Virginia. But they've been fantastic in really sort of allowing us as students to step up and represent our peers and allowing our input and allowing us to sort of learn and grow with them. And that's kind of been the fantastic opportunity of this, is that we are all continually growing in our knowledge of this issue and really working to become stronger advocates against sexual violence. And so that's been a really great opportunity, and they've been very accepting and not at all demeaning, and I really do feel like I am able to have a significant impact even among these really important people, so that's been fantastic.
Okay. And the report is due on Governor McAuliffe's desk by June 1st. What else is there to do?
So right now, I think each committee, prevention, response, and law enforcement, has sort of worked out what they'd like to see come out of this report, but now it's a matter of really getting down to the logistics and the semantics and figuring out what is this report actually going to physically look like when we report it to Governor McAuliffe, because obviously he doesn't serve on the task force, so we have to make sure that this is comprehensible. We also have to make sure that it's accessible to not just him but anyone who really wants to get behind whatever ideas or concepts that we're putting forward. So we're watching the legislative session, seeing how bills are unfolding out of the House and the Senate over there. We're also watching, what is this going to look like as an end product? And I think that's sort of the stage we're at now. Okay.
I've been speaking with Brandon Day, SGA president and advocate against sexual violence. Brandon, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Many people use their smartphones to text message, take selfies, and search the web. But a VCU professor is using this technology for much more. He's hoping that technology will help teenagers quit smoking. InSight's Mark Hardison is in the newsroom to tell us more about it. Good evening, Mark.
Good evening, Ben. 70 teens were in the first study group where they received daily messages to their phones. Those messages were positive reinforcement designed to help the teen quit smoking. Virginia Treatment Center for Children Director Michael Mason has been hard at work over the past 2 years. He's been working on a technique to help Richmond teens who use tobacco quit. And what's different about this study is the technology.
With the goal to reduce and stop their cigarette smoking, all through messages delivered on phones like this.
The Centers for Disease Control says that every day more than 3,200 kids try tobacco for the first time, and over 2 million high schoolers become daily smokers every year. During the study, teens received free cell phones and 5 text messages per day about the dangers of smoking. They then responded to those messages, creating an interactive conversation to help the teen quit smoking. The director of tobacco cessation at VCU, Linda Hancock, says that texting is a good way to keep teen smokers busy using their hands.
Smokers are used to lighting up 100 times a day. So if you give them something else to do with their hands, that's one thing that they can do.
And Mason says this study is having very positive results.
Those that got the intervention not only reduced the number of cigarettes that they smoked, not only increased their intentions not to smoke in the future in the next 3 months, but also said their peer network was more positive, that they felt more supportive and more encouraged to do pro-social activities. So,
what's shocking is that 1/4 of high schoolers use some type of tobacco. Dr. Mason is now in the second phase of his study involving 200 local teens, and that part of the study will wrap up sometime in June. Back to you, Ben.
Thanks, Mark. A local bike advocacy group is being nominated for a national award. The group supports safer cycling and walking conditions for everyone in Richmond. If you've ever walked the sidewalks or ridden over the potholes on the roads, you'll understand how important this award is.
Richmond's sidewalks and roads have been criticized by cyclists and pedestrians over the years. Bike Walk RVA says they're here to change that.
It's been pretty fun.
That's Brantley Tyndall, the group's community engagement coordinator. He says the group has been fighting for these changes and has earned a nomination for a national award. The group is one of 9 organizations across the country nominated for Bicycling Magazine's Bike Advocacy Organization of the Year. Tyndall says the community is excited to play the role of the underdogs at this year's awards.
We're a 2-year-old organization competing with organizations that are much more established. It's interesting being sort of mixing it up with like the big dogs like Minneapolis and Seattle.
Bike Walk RVA has already made an impact on the city by establishing more biking lanes and setting up signs like the one seen here that allow for drivers and bikers to share the roads. The group is seen here during their 2013 trip to the district. It says it has raised over $4.5 million for area sidewalk and road renovations since being founded by sports backers in 2012. But some bikers say they haven't seen any changes. VCU sophomore and bike lover Darian Montgomery feels the organization could be doing more.
I guess asking people more specifically what type of areas they think need to be fixed, and going around and asking students.
Walking around RVA and looking for ways to make it better is what the group says it does best. And it's why Tyndall believes the organization has a good chance of taking the award home.
We think we have a good shot, and our biking and walking advocates are very excited about it.
The award will be handed out at the Alliance Advocacy Award ceremony in Washington, D.C. on March 10th.
Richmonders tried to beat the cold temperatures with warm thoughts of warm Brazilian weather last weekend. A Brazilian festival called Carnaval at Hardywood, an event hosted by Hardywood Park Craft Brewery, gave folks an opportunity to celebrate the beginning of Lent with music, family, and friends. More than 100 people braved the weather to check out a martial art dance performance. Along with Latin music, event participants and organizers were happy with the turnout and hope to make this a yearly tradition.
Being admitted to the hospital isn't always a good experience, but one local organization is using furry friends to help pass the time. If you spent any time at VCU Medical Center, you may have seen our next guest. InSight's Mark Hardison is in the studio to tell us more.
I'm here with Rebecca Holloway and Katia Simmons, who represent Dogs on Call, an organization that works to bring smiles to sick hospital patients at VCU Medical Center. Thank you, ladies, for being here.
Thank you. Our pleasure.
And thank you, Katia, for bringing Kepler.
So Rebecca, you're the program coordinator for Dogs on Call at VCU Medical Center. Can you tell me a little bit more about your organization?
Well, we're a nonprofit housed at VCU Medical Center, and we facilitate animal therapy at VCU Medical Center for the patients and staff. We're also a research organization. We publish research on the human-animal bond, and we're also an educational institute. We do electives for med students at VCU Medical Center, and we also do educational outreach in the community. Pretty unique program.
So do you all work outside of VCU Medical Center?
Well, our Dogs on Call definitely visit here at VCU for stress events. We also like to serve the patients and staff at VCU Medical Center primarily, but when we have available time, we like to visit other organizations as well in the community.
All right, and Katia, we've got some video of Kepler here at VCU Medical Center. What goes into the training a dog like Kepler?
Basically, as long as the dog is very calm and good with people, has been well socialized, and has some basic obedience training, we're pretty much good to go, as long as the person is good with patients and has the ability and time to go around and visit with the patients. It certainly puts a big smile on anybody's face, any size of dog, any kind of dog.
Kepler's a pretty big dog. What type of breed is Kepler?
She's actually a Leonberger. She's 3 years old.
Oh, okay. How many Dogs on Call organizations are there around?
Ooh, well, we're definitely unique. We were founded in the VCU School of Medicine in 2001, and we've got 45 teams now, active dog teams, but we are definitely unique to the VCU community as an organization.
And is there a specific type of dog that works with Dogs on Call?
Oh my gosh, we take all breeds. There's no breed restrictions. As long as you have a friendly, well-behaved dog at home, you could possibly be a dog team yourself. We do take registration through either Therapy Dogs Incorporated, plus a CGC test, or Pet Partners. So those are the two organizations that we use to certify, but there's no specific training that you need to go into Dogs on Call. If your dog's friendly and really, really loves people like Kepler does, you could potentially be a team. Always looking for new volunteers.
And how long does these dogs stay with the patients that they visit?
Oh, that depends a lot. I mean, some of the visits that you'll see will be an hour in length. You know, they'll really provide that comfort for that patient for a long period of time. Some of them are just going into a room and brightening the day of a kid with a few tricks. It could take no more than 5 minutes. And for a lot of the staff in the hallways, it's that brief encounter that happens on the way to lunch or on the way to a meeting that really brightens their day. So it all depends on the team.
And so you can see these dogs walking around the hospital at any time?
You sure can. It's definitely a unique thing to the VCU Medical Center to see all of our dogters walking around in the hallways.
Okay. And so how do people get involved with Dogs on Call?
They can definitely find us on Facebook or on Twitter. If they search for Dogs on Call or the Center for Human-Animal Interaction, they can also go to our website, www.chai.vcu.edu. You can find out all about how to become a team there. You can look at center research. You can also find out how to make donations. We are a nonprofit, and we rely primarily on the generosity of others to make our program possible.
Alrighty, I've been speaking with Rebecca Hollings and Katia Simmons, who work with Dogs on Call, a volunteer-based therapy for dogs at the VCU Medical Center. Rebecca and Katia, thank you all for joining me.
Thank you so much for
Our
having
pleasure.
us.
Thank you for having us.
Masking tape has a lot of uses in our everyday lives, but you may not think of it as a form of art. Not only is a VCU grad using it as his medium, he's gotten his own show downtown. To show it all off to the public, InSight's Jacqueline Causey reports.
In the art world, getting your first exhibit is a big deal. It's even bigger if you just graduated from college, like VCU sculpture alum Nikolai Walka.
Into the gallery, and I just said, hey, I'm Nikolai. Can I have 1 second of your time to just show you a piece?
That piece? A suit of armor he'd been working on for 2 years while at school. But that's just part of what's now on display at the Visual Arts Studio on West Broad Street in downtown Richmond. Most pieces use something you wouldn't think about as art: masking tape.
Cutting away at the tape and you're removing, it's very much like a surgical process, like you're removing the tape or the skin and it reveals the anatomy underneath.
Gallery owner Ann Hart-Chai says
February is usually a tough month to sell art, but Waco has already sold 25% of his work, making it one of the best Februaries in the gallery's 15-year history.
So happy for him. I feel like a proud mom, you know, a really older big sister.
Waco says he's excited to give other artists and the public a different experience.
It's something that they haven't seen before. These tape drawings is something that kind of gets them thinking. If they're artists, like, they can try new materials and instead of just painting or drawing.
Materials that are more likely to maybe stick around. For VCU InSight, I'm Jacqueline Causey.
Waco's show, Art of Conflict, is on display at the Visual Arts Studio until March 27th.
And another community art fair is in the works. After a year-long break, the RVA Street Art Festival will return this September, just 2 days before the 2015 UCI World Bicycle Championships, and Richmond is busy getting ready. InSight's Cameron Vigliano reports on this growing event.
This will be the third RVA Street Art Festival to take place, and as Councilman John Beliles of the 1st District says, you can expect next year's event to be much better than the previous two.
Each year we've ramped it up a little bit.
The festival is a 4-day showcase where artists give old industrial sites a makeover through works like murals or sculptures. The event first debuted in 2012 at a power plant along the Canal Walk downtown, and the second Street Art Festival was last year at the GRTC bus depot.
But what will make the 2015 RVA Street Art Festival bigger than ever is the new location, the Southern States Silos, a behemoth of an industrial site, seen by thousands of people on I-95 every day.
It's the exposure from I-95 and the fact that street art will be completed just before the World Bike Championships that excites Beliles.
There'll be a lot of people in town that have never been to Richmond before, and there'll be millions watching on TV, and they'll be able to see what we can accomplish next September.
Creative firm Release the Hounds will organize the event. Founder John Mills told me the event aims to raise money for children's art programs while revitalizing rundown eyesores through art. Last year, about $105,000 for the GRTC location was budgeted, and about $200,000 will be pumped into the Southern States Silos. But besides helping the community, Mills says the event is also meant to give artists exposure.
Not only bringing in artists and showcasing international and national artists, but also using the event to help kind of find like Richmond talent.
As for other plans, Beliles says it's all in the making. For VCU InSight, I'm Cameron Vigliano.
The festival will be held from September 10th through the 13th.
Some kids are getting the royal treatment in honoring Black History Month. Disney princesses Tiana and Jasmine, the first two princesses of color, made a special appearance at the Children's Museum of Richmond and Short Pump on Saturday, February the 21st. Throughout the day, the princesses played with more than 30 kids, posed for pictures, and interacted with families from the local area. The event's intention was to cultivate an acceptance of diversity amongst the children.
And finally tonight, sad faces aren't what you'd expect to see looking back at you while walking through a toy aisle.
Oddly, one Henrico mother hopes to change that. With her new business, one that creates dolls who don't smile, InSight's Teresa Galasso has more on the story.
Drew Lavasser is a typical 6-year-old boy who isn't always happy, but that's all changed thanks to a new doll, a frowny face doll. Drew says his doll makes him happy when he's feeling down and reaches for it several times a day.
3 times a day, maybe.
It sounds strange, a doll that always looks upset, but frowny face dolls are meant to do the exact opposite. Frowny face creator Rebecca Floyd says she was walking through a toy store when she noticed the same generic smile on every doll's face.
When my son was born, our house started filling up with toys, and we started quickly noticing that they were creepy and scary, and they all had big plastic smiles.
Floyd says she created the dolls to let children know it's okay to feel sad.
A lot of people tell me they buy them because their children are, need a doll that they can relate to when they're having a bad day, and I think people are tired of plastic smiling toys.
Each doll is unique and made differently from the one before.
It's only been a month and over 100 of these dolls have already been sold. Made out of thread and socks, these dolls hope to make children and even some adults turn their frown upside down.
the most out of the spacesuit.
Henrico mother Emily Lavasser says her 2 children have sought comfort in the dolls and have even helped them through a few tough times.
Just to know that you don't always have to be happy and put on a fake smiley face, and it's okay to feel sad and feel other feelings.
Floyd says the dolls are simply a reminder that it's okay for children, like Drew, to feel sad. For VCU InSight, I'm Teresa Galasso.
Frowny face dolls cost $25 and are currently sold online and out of Floyd's home. If you're interested in buying one, you can find them at www.frownyfaces.com.
So Teresa got this back from her story. Her name is Francine.
I'm not going to lie, I'm feeling a little bit uncomfortable from it. I'm picking up some of that voodoo vibe from it, to be honest.
I feel like we can admit, like, all of us feel this way sometimes, so.
I mean, we all do feel like that sometimes, but if you guys at home see the lights starting to flicker or, you know, some static coming up, then it's probably coming from that. Just being honest.
And that's it for this edition of VCU InSight.
Make sure to check us out online at insight.vcu.edu.
You can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook under VCU InSight. Contact us with any stories you'd like to see on our show.
And if you missed it or you'd like to watch past shows, we're on YouTube under VCU InSight. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Ben Billmeyer.
And I'm Sierra Wega. We'll see you next time.